Hello and welcome to Analysis. I am Oyi Adekunle. Earlier this year, the Independent National Electoral Commission deregistered 74 political parties for falling short of registration regulations and their poor performance in the 2019 general elections. Of the 74, 22 moved to challenge INEC's decision, and the Court of Appeal, I should say, has now ruled in their favor. The appellate court ruled that the move was illegal because INEC failed to comply with due process of law. INEC has now signified its intention to challenge the appeal court's ruling, ordering it to release the 22 political parties at the Supreme Court. But joining me now to discuss this is Leonard NZENWA, the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Nigeria. He joins us via Skype from Abuja. Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Mr. NZENWA.
Yeah, it's also nice to be on your program. Thank you very much, too.
Thank you. First of all, what do you make of the appeal?
Please, can I hear your voice? You have to speak up a little bit.
If you can hear me, I said, what exactly do you make of the appeal court's ruling?
Well, I think it's basically is in consonance with what everybody expects from any court of competent jurisdiction. They will make their pronouncements, but parties that are not satisfied to that particular matter will now seek redress, either in a corresponding court of competent jurisdiction or they move up to a higher court. In this instance, the commission, that's INEC in this case, is already going to the Supreme Court in this respect. So in most cases, when cases are before a court of competent jurisdiction in this country, I do not make comments on it. I do not say anything on it because that would be also, it's not consistent with when you respond to cases that have to do with courts. So I just keep quiet when it comes to such matter. Yep. But the thing is that they have gone to court and it is there they will settle the matter off.
But in your own opinion, do you think that INEC really has the power to deregister political parties?
Yes, there are relevant constitutions in this country that can relevant provisions of the Electoral Act, which empowers and confers on INEC to deregister political parties. It is not my opinion. It is a clear legal backing by the Electoral Act 2010 as amended. So it is not an opinion thing. That is a power that has been conferred by an agency, by a commission responsible for supervision and regulation of election in this country. So they are empowered to do that. It is a power that has been given to them by both the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and also the Electoral Act.
But as it stands now, there seems to be like two conflicting judgments, because the same court that earlier in the case of National Unity Party upheld and validated the power of INEC to deregister the parties. So now the court's saying again that it didn't follow due process. What exactly is your take on that?
You know, most times when we talk about these things, we also have to know that we are not in the court room. What we are doing is opinionated. It doesn't have any value to add to what the decision the court will take. I want us to be very, very clear about that, except if we just want to talk. This matter, this particular judgment was given by an appeal court yesterday, and the commission responded. And what we need to also note is that when they responded, they said they are going to the Supreme Court. So, and the same court, another court of appeal has also given a judgment, also validating the position of INEC in also the same political party. So, when you have this kind of conflicting judgments, it is better for the courts to now decide and interpret and determine how to resolve it. It is not for us to begin to opinionate. It's not for us to begin to say this and all that. What we shall wait for the Supreme Court to give its pronouncement on this matter.
But do you see this causing a form of disruption as we have the Edo and ONDO governorship elections coming up shortly? Do you see this causing a form of disruption in those polls?
Yeah, that is why we need to. That is why we decided to intervene. That is why the Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria decided to intervene, because we sense it might have some negative effect. And if you recall, the commission had last week raised fears that the actions and inactions of some politicians, especially most of them are making incendiary statements that is inflaming the polity in Edo and Ondo, is causing a lot of disharmony, and that might have the potency of disrupting the elections there. And so the commission dutifully raised the alarm in that respect. And we, as a core stakeholder, that is the group of political parties in Nigeria, felt, listen, we are about 14 political parties that fielded candidates in that particular election, in the proposed election that is coming up. And two political parties are almost at war with with each other on this. And the 12 political parties are saying, we will not sit by and watch these two political parties tear themselves apart and also bring the name of IPAC to disrepute and also subvert our democracy. So it will have some impact, but that impact is being minimized by interventions by groups like Interparty Advisory Council and other well-meaning stakeholders that are in the system. So it is a responsibility of every Nigerian, including the journalists, including the media, to make sure that there is no negative impact that will disrupt the Edo and the Ondo election on scheduled dates.
But then there are already calls from some parties that the election should be postponed. Would you buy that idea?
What I will tell you is that any person that is saying, or group that is saying, or individual that is saying that this election should be postponed, I can tell you that idea is coming from the left spin of the brain. It does not connect with the senses, neither does it nourish the soul.
Exactly, because we are even barely a month into the Edo governorship election.
Come again, I didn't get that.
I said exactly, because we are barely in a month into the Edo governorship election.
That's the explanation I'm trying to give you, because it does not nourish the soul that somebody will come out in this period and begin to say that they are calling for the election to be stopped. Then you begin to ask yourself, are these people normal human beings? Considering the enormous investment that has gone into this process, this is a process. Before an election starts, there is a notice of election that is given by the commission. They have a clearly stated schedule that has timelines. And you move from point A to point Z. You start from notice of election to the date of election. Most of these activities have been carried on. What we are looking forward now is to the date of the election, which is almost the last thing. So we can say confidently that about 98% of the cycle have been completed. So why would you come now and begin to tell Nigerians that this election should be cancelled or this election should be postponed? On what grounds? Now, if it is politicians or some people that are creating the problem, we have the law enforcement agencies, we have the security outfits, we have other stakeholders that should call them to order. We are calling the politicians to order. It's not going to benefit any person for us to postpone this election. Rather, it will make a mockery of Nigeria in the Committee of International, the Committee of Nations. So what we are saying is this: whether it is politicians that are calling for postponement of this election, or whether there are other forces that are responsible for that, it is something that should be discarded. It is something that will not be think about. These sets of people should, as a matter of fact, be arrested.
But let's look at it from another angle now. Like some of these parties that had this issue ongoing about deregistration with INEC, and they were not able to field candidates for the Edo and Ondo governorship election. Some of them may see this as a breach of their fundamental human rights, because if they didn't have this case, they would have been allowed to participate in the election. Now,
yes, if you have a breach of your fundamental human rights, where you're going to seek redress is the court of competent jurisdiction in Nigeria. You've approached the court. The court, a court has given an earlier ruling validating the powers of INEC to deregister a political party. That's a court of appeal. Now you went to another court of appeal and also got a judgment. Now saying that they're saying that INEC that INEC has the power to deregister. Note it very clearly. The court says that INEC actually has the power to deregister. But what the court was saying that the court did not follow due process. Now in that is what the court is saying. That's why I say most times we do not dabble into this court gymnastics and the legal gymnastics and all that. What they are saying is that let them go to the Supreme Court and now seek redress, as INEC has done so. INEC has gone to Supreme Court to seek redress. So in that place, they can now go full circle to get their fundamental human rights re-established. But not because you have now gotten a pronouncement from a court at this juncture, then the whole world will stop. You cannot say, for instance, you are traveling from Abuja to Lagos. All of us are traveling to Abuja to Lagos. If you travel, you have hundreds of vehicles that are going from Abuja to Lagos. That is correct. Now, you get to, your vehicle breaks down, or we're all going, your vehicle breaks down in Lokoja. And because your vehicle breaks down in Lokoja, you expect me that is coming from Abuja to stop and not to go on my trip. If it's an accident that you have on the road, the best I can do is to come down from my vehicle, commiserate with you people, and continue with my journey. But you cannot say, because I have an accident, or because my vehicle cannot move, I have an issue, that I cannot move my vehicle there. You cannot stop a march when it's not 90 minutes. You can't stop it. The train is moving, you can't stop it. So what you should do is, you exercise patience, wait for the Supreme Court now to give its judgment before you can begin to talk. For now, the cycle is almost completed, and this election must hold. And that's our position of IPAC. That is the position of all well-meaning Nigerians. We cannot afford to stop this election. We can't afford to postpone this election. Even though we respect the rights of every human being, and they should seek redress in a higher court, and that is what has been done. Let them go and sort this matter out in the Supreme Court.
Well, this is actually getting very interesting, but please, we'll go on a break now. Please just hold your thoughts, go on a break, and when we come back, we'll continue this discussion. Welcome back. We've been discussing the move or the appeal court's ruling on INEC deregistering political parties. The appeal court has asked INEC to reverse the decision by INEC to deregister some political parties. And I still have with me on the program Mr. Leonard NZENWA, who is the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council Nigeria. Mr. NZENWA, thank you very much for staying with us. Now, you did make a valid point before we went on that break, and you were talking about, you said that the ONDO and Edo State elections should actually not be cancelled, and parties who feel aggrieved should approach the courts to seek legal redress. Now, I'm going to ask you now, are you trying to think about the implication of, say, parties now go to the court and then the court asks them to take part in the election? Wouldn't that be taking us back to square one?
Yeah, exactly. That is why this intervention became very necessary, that we need to speak out today. Of course, we spoke out last Friday, and it sounded as it was prophetic. We had a press conference on Friday, as if we knew that something like this was going to come up. And we did say very clearly that on no account, Nigerians of any persuasion or whatever thing might have been the problem should now be talking about the postponement of this election. And just 2 days after that, we now began to hear that we now got a Court of Appeal. Now, there is no way we will concede that, or we are going to say that if this is allowed to come through the way it is, there's going to be very negative implication for the polity. I was trying to describe the process for you initially. I told you that before an election takes place, there's what we call the notice. INEC has a schedule. This schedule is populated with activities. And you start with a notice of election. That is what is done first. Then to the date of the election. Now, if you run through this cycle, most of these things have been done. And now, if you now come up and say, we are going to postpone this election on account of a pronouncement from a court of competent jurisdiction. And note, they said released. And when they're saying released back, you have to exercise patience, because the party that you went to court with exchanged pleadings with you, they conveyed their prayers with you, and in the court, immediately after the judgment, they went to Supreme Court. You've got to wait, settle the matter at the Supreme Court, And when you settle the matter at the Supreme Court, you cannot come back and say you can be relisted. But as it is now, it's a journey you are going. You cannot stop it and say, come now and come and release us. And if you're going to do that, you are going to look at the cost of turning all the whole things over for them to come back to the ballot. First of all, the political parties did not do primaries. Two, the certificate of the registration has been with the certificate of registration has there are no more political parties. They are just simply political association. So you have a lot of legal issues around it. So we did not get there, because by the time we begin to do all that, we'll put this country into a major confusion, a major crisis, and what I describe as political amalgam. And so what we have to do basically now is that we all have to come together. Let us work that this election is held as scheduled by INEC.
And before I let you go, let me ask you now, it has almost become a norm, and that is bringing us to the primary reason why INEC moved to deregister these political parties in the first place. It's become a norm that when elections are near, people begin to form all kinds of groups and call them political parties. And when the elections are held, you find that some of these parties even barely get a vote when the elections are held. And now, shouldn't there be, if there isn't already a law guiding the formation of political parties in Nigeria?
Yeah, I think that may be what may, because I'm not the commission. I don't work in the commission. I'm also a political party. First of all, I am the chairman of African Action Congress, AAC. I'm also the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria, which is the umbrella body for political parties. Now, I am a core stakeholder in the entire process. I do not work with the commission. But I think from my reading from what is happening with the commission, what the commission is doing, they are setting out to clean or stabilize or sanitize the electoral system. And in doing that, they've taken a major step of trying to delist some political parties in their own assessment, based on parameters and requirements, that this is what we're going to do to reduce the number of political parties. Get it very clearly. As a stakeholder, as a political party, we do not celebrate this misfortune of our colleagues. No. We are not happy that our colleagues are deregistered. But we need to face facts. A woman that has taken in has got to deliver the baby. So because of the pains or pangs of delivery, we will not tell the woman not to stop delivering the baby. The point is that, yes, it has happened. Your political party has been deregistered. Life must go on. We need to get the troop together. We need to rally the troop together. There are several stakeholders in the process. Must we, on account of the registration of your own political party, Nigeria will not go ahead? No, that's what we're saying. Nigeria must go ahead. If at the appropriate time you not finish with your legal process and the court, the highest court in the land, says you cannot be readmitted, that's when you can come back. But before that, this process must continue because it's almost 95% completed. We've got to have it. So my direct response to you, there's a need to review the way political parties are constituted in Nigeria. There's also a need for us to build capacities of both political managers, party managers, as well as politicians. I need to make it very clear. There's a clear-cut distinction between party managers and politicians. And the people have not drawn this line. Party managers deal specifically with how they guide and direct political parties. Politicians are the outfields. They are in the arena of politicking. And so what party managers does is to see how they can bring some of this same part of these outfield players into norm with what happens in society. And so that's exactly what we're doing. So it is our responsibility, Nigerian responsibility, to see how they can work together for us to build a very credible, solid political system with strong political party, credible politicians that have capacity and don't know what they're doing to run forward. I think this is what the commission is setting out to do. And I want Nigerians to also support the political party, support IPAC, and also support the commission and all stakeholders in this regard.
And indeed, a country that works for everyone is what every Nigerian is seeking at this time. Mr. Leonard NZENWA, we thank you very much for speaking to us on analysis. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me on your program as well.
And that's it on this episode of the program. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.